Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite social studies channel, History with Mr. B. I'm going to throw you a curveball today. Instead of talking about one particular topic, I'm going to give you this week in history recap. And remember, this is edutainment. It's half education, it's half entertainment, it's all edutainment with History with Mr. B. Let's start the fastest 5 minutes in history. Go. All right. This day in history on January 9th, Christopher Columbus accidentally mistakes a manatee and a bunch of sea manatees for mermaids. And he actually has a journal where he writes down, I quote, "They're not as half as beautiful as they are painted." Oh, wow. There's been a lot of hatred on Christopher Columbus lately. Let me just give you some facts with the X, like my 10th graders say. Christopher Columbus was Italian, but his real name is Cristobal Colombo. And that's what he was known as in Italy. In Spain, he was known as Cristobal Colon. And he spoke many languages. He was from Genoa, which was in Italy, but Genoese Italian was not a language in the 1500s. He spoke Ligurian, Portuguese, Spanish, and he could also write in Latin. And some scholars say he had a secret journal written in Greek. Never been found, never been proven. All right, so Christopher Columbus has been given such a bad name in history. I don't want to, ruin the guy or anything. But if you'd like to debate Christopher Columbus with me, you YouTubers, leave me something in the comments we can debate. But what I will do is I will take my brain out first before I reply, so we're even, Steven. All right, another important event, January 9th, 1913. Happy birthday. It's the birthday of Richard Nixon. He would be 110 years old today, famous for the Watergate political scandal. I am not a crook. And such a huge scandal that anything that has the ending gate on it, Spygate with Tom Brady, Deflategate with Tom Brady. Obviously, I'm not a Patriots fan. That just means a scandal. So Watergate, that was a scandal. But happy birthday, happy 110th, President Nixon. On to January 10th. January 10th, Common Sense was published by Thomas Paine in 1776. Basically, what it was a diss track against the English government. Never can true reconcilement grow where wounds of deadly hatred have pierced so deep. Basically, if he was a 10th grader, this is what he would say. Yo, King, you sus. No cap. We beefing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it was like the first diss track ever. And of course, it was very powerful propaganda that led into the Revolutionary War. Also on this day in 1962, January 10th, there was a huge avalanche in Peru. All right, the Andes Mountains runs through Peru and South America. Huge avalanche, 4,000 people killed, 8 or 9 villages or towns completely wiped out. It was huge ice avalanche, terrible. Let's move on to something else, January 11th. Okay, this day in history, January 11th, Sir Edmund Hillary dies. Actually, that's not really happy, but let's celebrate the good things about him. Who was Sir Edmund Hillary? He was in the Royal New Zealand Air Force. He was fascinated with climbing since he was in like 6th grade, and he was the first person to summit the highest peak in the world, Mount Everest, 29,000 plus feet, which is an amazing fact. Now, I know there are a lot of people on here that are mountain climbing purists, and they think he cheated because he used canned oxygen. So I have to shout out Reinhold Messner and Peter Hebler in 1978 for being the first 2 people to climb Mount Everest without oxygen. Now, that's crazy. That's David Goggins type stuff. Let's move on. January 12th. Another terrible Mother Nature occurrence. There was an earthquake in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, and 220,000 people died. This was in 2010, so some of my students would remember this. If you're an old head like me, you definitely remember terrible January 10th, 2010 in Haiti. And finally, January 13th, this year in history, 1999, Michael Jordan retires for a second time from the Chicago Bulls. But those of you that know sports know he came back and actually retired in 2003 with the Washington Wizards. Finally, in 1929, on this day, January 13th, Wyatt Earp dies at 80 years old in Los Angeles. Wyatt Earp, an American pioneer, a lawman, a gambler in the American Wild West. He was I believe, sheriff of Dodge City, Deadwood, Tombstone, but it was the gunfight at the OK Corral that really solidified his persona, but it was actually his brother Virgil that was the sheriff, and that's just a misconception. I went a little bit over 5 minutes, but that's your fastest 5 minutes in history. Tell me what you'd like to see next. A video on ancient sports, torture devices of the Middle Ages. I am the YouTube tutor for free. Link in the comments. Tell me what you want to hear about next. I can talk about anything, but like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for This Week in History, the fastest 5 minutes from Mr. B. Thank you for watching. I love you all.